Hello everyone, welcome to Cartoon Season. I am Tyler, and of course this is where I get to talk about all sorts of animation, whether it's cartoons or anime. Today we got a movie. We're doing some Surf's Up. Surf's Up, fantastic film. I don't know, I just feel like this film is so super overlooked. This is a very early Sony film, and I feel like Sony, in my opinion, Sony nowadays is getting the respect it deserves, because, we got incredible things. I mean, like Spider-Verse, we got like Mitchell's and the Machines, or Mitchell's vs. the Machines, Sony killing it, right? Isn't Hotel Transylvania also Sony, right? Or are they, maybe, I don't know. Back in the day, though, we had Surf's Up. Let me tell you, I owned Surf's Up on the PSP UMD, right? Wasn't the UMD, right? It was the Ultra mini disc or something. Awesome. I could watch Surf's Up whenever I wanted on my PSP. But anyway, fantastic film. We're going to talk about a couple different things. I want to discuss the documentary aspect of this film, because I think that is such a unique thing. And then also I wanted to talk about Big Z being a mentor to Cody, and why I think that was really the core of the heart of this film. Before I do, make sure to go to the Tiger T YouTube channel, as well as many other podcast services where you can find more episodes of this. And there's also a Tiger T Twitter, as well as my own Twitter, if Twitter's your thing. You know what I mean? Some people is, some people ain't. But yeah, let's get into the episodes. Like I said, first we're getting to the documentary aspect. So yeah, I assume you've seen the movie. This is filmed as a documentary. It is mixed in, though. I mean, there are shots where they try to do the whole shaky cam thing, and then there's also obviously shots where it's just like, okay, there's just gonna be a normal camera. You know what I mean? It should be regular, just like any other movie. But they do it in a very seamless way. But yeah, so the documentary, again, it's apparently about Cody Maverick, which is really weird to me, because it's like, I mean, it's convenient for the film, but it's like, why did random documentary people come and want to make a documentary around the random penguin from whatever? Like, who cares, But it is his story, and it turns out to be gold, Although I guess, to be fair, probably the biggest documentary story that isn't an actual documentary is The Office, right? I don't know if anyone's seen The Office, but it's a workplace comedy, whatever, mockumentary, I guess. And that's also a weird decision too, for people to just be like, oh yeah, we're gonna make a documentary about this paper company, and it turns out to be gold because of the wackiness and the crazy adventures and somewhat illegal things that go on there. But anyway, and yeah, they have interviews with the mom and the brother, which is really cool. Because the mom is the mom. She's very much a mom, how she speaks about Cody. And then the older brother's just older brother who just, always rags on Cody. But they have some very real moments with them too, which is nice to see. And, it's also a very easy way to give backstory on his home. A very convenient, storytelling device. It's just be like, oh, it's an interview, so now we can just ask Cody, hey, what's your deal? And then Cody can give exposition to, obviously the interviewer, but also us, the viewer. Whereas normally when you tell a story, you want to do it, when a character delivers exposition, you want it to happen in a way that doesn't just feel like the character is telling the audience, hey, here's some information you need, but we don't really know how to give it to you, so we're just going to have this character say it to you. But this movie gets away with stuff like that because they're filming a documentary, they're interviewing people. So literally you can ask, hey, where did you grow up? Hey, why did you want to surf? Hey, why, instead of them having to concoct a situation in which Cody tells someone that candidly, something like that. So it's a very, again, I'm not saying it's lazy, I'm just saying it's a very sneaky thing, that they're able to get away with, but it works. And then also with that, like, we can hear other people's thoughts on surfing, because surfing is apparently such a huge deal in this bird animal world. So we can hear like the kids, the little kids that we cut back to every now and again, give their thoughts and opinions on surfing and how they started and what they like and all that stuff. And it gives some comedic moments as well. I mean, again, if we're sticking with the kids, kids are kids, so they say weird things and all that. So that's always fun. We also catch some embarrassing moments, like when this gopher guy, I don't remember the gopher guy's name, but the gopher guy, he's yelling at his employees, and it cuts and it has the cutting noise when a documentary crew like turns on the camera and turns it off, him yelling at his employees and, not being this super jovial type dude that he tries to put off so that he can sell his surfboards and stuff, or like, get, sign surfers because he's like an agent or like a talent guy or whatever. Or we even have like Tank kissing the trophies. Clearly something he didn't want people to see, even though like anyone that knows Tank, I feel like knows that he's has a weird like self-centeredness to him. But we do catch moments like that, which again, they don't really have to concoct a story, like a situation in which like, oh, Cody walks into the tent and catches Tank kissing the trophies, and then we have to resolve that somehow. Like, no, we can just like, oh, the camera crew follows all the people that they feel are important to, Cody's story, and so they follow Tank, and in them following Tank, they see Tank do some funny stuff, that's just how they're able to explain that moment, existing, I guess, existing on film. And then we have like the actual interaction with the camera crew with the real world, how we have the camera guys, they get attacked by the natives multiple times, that's always funny, that's always an aspect to these mockumentary stuff where, when is the camera crew going to get involved in something, whether they want to or not. And so in this way they do it where they get attacked, and then you see like you hear the camera guy like say, oh no, or whatever, and then they fall down, the camera, breaks. And then just really encapsulating the whole thing is that they're able to stumble upon this huge story. Again, they're following Cody, which I don't know why they were, but they follow him and they end up getting probably the biggest story of anyone's life, where they actually discover Big Z, who was alive, who was a legend, in this world, in this community, and they weren't looking for Big Z when they started this film, but they found him, and now that's a whole big part of it, so, that's the aspect to it, where again, in a regular movie, that's a huge moment, but like with it there being like a crew behind everything, now you see their excitement, when it's discovered and they're like running up to him and like, is it true you're Big Z? Why'd you, they're asking questions about him now, and we get to have that moment where, that's more kind of exposition and peeling away the layers of the Big Z character, in that moment with him kind of like waving him away. He's like, I don't want to talk about it, let's not do it, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that the documentary aspect of this film is very unique, very fun. It lets them get away with certain things, but it also opens up other moments. Like I feel like it'd be one thing if they did this just a way to like cut corners in the storytelling and in the writing, but they didn't, because there's a lot of stuff that we wouldn't be able to see, and they would have a weird time explaining if the whole like crew aspect didn't exist, because again they have to write a way to make these kids, and then it also that'll just take up more screen time, they would have to cut things. So I think this was really the best choice, the best like scope for a film like this. And then they just mentioned Big Z, so let's get into the Big Z thing where he's a mentor to Cody. This is great. Again, like I said, this is the heart of the film. This is where two of the film's most important characters, how they rub off on each other, and they both grow so much from just knowing each other. So in the beginning, he's still a hermit, and he still wants Cody out of here. It does not have a very warm and friendly welcome. But, because of kind of how rude Z was, and, how abrasive he was, he wants to make it up to Cody, so he decides to make a board with him out of this wood. Don't remember the name of the wood, but it's the wood where apparently all the best boards, in history were made out of this wood. So it's great. You know what I mean? We immediately have some bonding going on. You know, we immediately see him come out of his shell. I mean, again, he was literally a hermit and didn't want to talk to anyone, and now he decides, you know what, I'm gonna do something nice for this kid. You know, something that we assume he's never done before. You know, at least since he was, you know, Zeke and not Big Z. You know, then they accidentally find his old board hut, and this is kind of where everything breaks wide open. Is that we realize he's Big Z. We get a tiny bit of backstory on that. And you know, but still, even in that moment, like, I don't think I wrote it down, but Lonnie, who is, we find out is Big Z's niece, she's like ecstatic because, like, it doesn't seem like much that's happened so far, but just the fact that Cody was able to bring Big Z out of you know, out of the shed or the shack and all the way down to the you know, his beach, the beach there, like that's huge, like that right there. Again, Cody probably doesn't feel like he's done a lot in that moment, but he's done so much. You know, he's just been sitting on the couch all day, not doing anything, and then we got him all the way down to the beach. You know, Lonnie is his niece, his family. You know, she's been trying to get him out of there for years. You know, Cody knows him for, you know, an hour. And, you know, so it just goes to show the effect that they have on each other. Let's see, and then Z refuses to go into the water, right? That's a big thing too, because, you know, even though they got him down there, he can't surf. You know what I mean? He mentally, he just can't get over that yet. And that's fine. You know, but there is some stalling. You know, it definitely feels like he's messing with Cody. You know, with like his lessons, right? But it turns out in the end that he was just trying to teach Cody how to have fun. You know, and I think that's something that he wanted him to learn because he had to learn it himself. You know, where he needed to learn how to have fun, because we learn later how, like, him, you know, with the whole Big Z stuff, or not, well, yes, Big Z, but you know, Tank and all that, but you know, I think he didn't want Cody to turn into someone that just cared about winning. That's all he cared about. Like, he fell out of the love of this sport and just wanted to win. And so I think him teaching him how to have fun was like, this is why we do it. You know, this is why people should surf, because they enjoy it, not because they can get really good at it and win trophies, you know, be famous. You know, it's not, you know, because then you forget about what the sport really is, you know. It's not, you know, it doesn't, you know, it moves away from its organicness, you know, and it just becomes like, you know, you just become like a robot. You just become like, you know, we're training just to train, just to get better, rather than we love surfing, you know. I mean, you know that because, like, Cody, like, he rode sheets of ice. That's all that was available to him in Antarctica or whatever, you know. So you know that he loved surfing. You know he did. What else? And then Z succeeds in both teaching Cody how to have fun and how to have patience. So fun was just messing with them, and, you know, we got him, right? We got the cucumbers on the eyes, we got the, you know, throwing him out into the ocean, whatever, right? We got the fun covered. But patience was a big thing, because when they were building the board, Cody just wanted it to be built so we can start surfing, we can start doing it. But he built the board and it was terrible. You know, like, as soon as the board hit the water, it broke. It broke is an understatement. It exploded. You know, and obviously Cody was upset. You know, that was kind of a rough moment for them. But with him coming back on his own, you know, realizing that he was wrong, and him quietly building the board the way Z taught him to, you know, and then Z waking up and seeing that he was doing it. You know, he actually wanted to put in not only the work, but to do it right. You know, no shortcuts, right? That was a big thing that Z was trying to teach him. And, you know, again, that was a great moment. You know, that was like I don't know about father. I mean, somewhere somewhat of a mixture between a father moment and like an older sibling moment, because we do see how his actual older brother is not very helpful, always putting him down, so for him to finally have someone in like this in his life, because he never really had anyone. Even his mom didn't quite understand. His dad died when he was young, so it's like he didn't really have someone like this in his life to teach him these things. I think that, again, it's great, it's awesome. But Cody still wants to compete in the tournament. By this point, I think Z thought that Cody didn't care about the tournament anymore. He just wanted to have fun. He just wanted to surf. Let's hang out with each other. Let's do this. Let's kind of live our life this way. But Cody still wanted to do the tournament, which hurt him. It hurt him a little bit, but he was not hurt enough. And he had enough understanding to actually sneak out and watch the tournament. Watch Cody, because he realized this was important to him. Because again, while I think most of the growth happens on Cody's side, I think visibly, I think there's equal amount of growth on Z's side. We already mentioned him coming out of the shack and doing the beach and all that, but like even him willing to teach someone, him willing to share his secrets or whatever, that's a big thing. That's something that in other movies and other stories, legends, they don't really want to take up a protege. They don't want. Even a lot of them like don't make good teachers, because they just know how to do the things that they're good at. They don't know how to teach them to someone else. And then let's see. And then huge moment, Cody sacrifices his own win to help Chicken Joe. I think this works twofold. I think that he realized that winning isn't everything to him. That winning is not going to bring him happiness. And so for him to secure the win for his friend, because, Chicken Joe is probably his best friend, so for him to help Chicken Joe win and give up, because he was absolutely going to win. I think him and Joe were tied, I think, or maybe Joe was slightly behind him in points, but Cody kind of had that in the bag, and for him to be like, what, it's not necessary. I don't have to win. I'm not gonna put my life on the line for this. I'm gonna let Joe win. And not even like out of pity or anything, just like him not going the extra mile, to even because he could have been like, what, we're friends, but this is a tournament. He could have really done something mean to Chicken Joe, to secure his own win, but he didn't. And then the other fold of it is that in the midst of that, he was also doing it to help Joe, because Tank was going to take him out. Tank was going to seriously injure Joe, because of how frustrated he was with both of them, because he felt like he should be winning this easily. He was going to do whatever it takes. Tank is basically someone that Z did not want to see Cody turn into. And I think Cody realized that, maybe not that specifically, that was kind of the whole thing there. But I think, again, him looking at Tank, and I think him himself realizing that this is what that mindset can do to someone. And I'm not like that. And I don't want to be like that. So to not only sacrifice it for Joe, but also do it in a way that is also helpful to Joe. To sacrifice his own life for that, to take out Tank, to save his friend. Again, it's not only about the tournament, it's also like in that moment, I think Tank maybe not would have killed him, but it would have been rough. And then Big C comes in the clutch, obviously cares about him more than just teaching him how to surf, but, there's obviously some more of a familial bond that has formed between them. Big Z saves Cody from the boneyard or whatever, which is huge. That's a very emotional moment. Both putting, Cody's life obviously in danger, Big Z putting his life in danger. Tough moment, and it's capped off perfectly by them going on the beach and Big Z officially coming out of hiding, and then not only coming out of hiding, which again, just to pause there, huge moment for him, huge growth. Again, he never wanted to do that. He was fine with being left alone, people thinking he's dead. That's what he wanted his legacy to be, because of how his last match or whatever ended with Tank, because of that whole situation, never gonna happen again. But then the other aspect to that is him then giving credit to Cody and being like, this guy right here, that's probably his way of, helping him out, because now Cody has the opportunity to be famous because of that, but also like to also show Cody that he cares, without saying I love you, to be like, hey, like, this is because of you, like the things I'm saying that are because of you, but also like, like obviously we've hung out forever, for weeks now, I'm assuming at this point, like also like sort of an inside nod to him as well, and it's great, and then the movie ends, it's great, they throw all the boards down, they're getting rid of the gopher guy, they're all going to their little beach there where the waves are great, and it's awesome, this is what it means to surf, but again, I think their relationship is incredible, how they both cause each other to grow, they get frustrated with each other at times, but I think they really, like I said, they form this bond that is really important, to both of their characters, and then everyone around them as well, and yeah, it's great, it's awesome, they couldn't have done it without each other, I mean, it's funny because neither one of them got what they wanted, Z didn't want to come out of hiding ever, but he did. That was like probably the biggest thing in his life. And then Cody wanted to win this tournament to prove that he is an amazing surfer, to prove to, the legacy of Big Z, all that stuff. And he didn't. He lost. Joe won. So I mean, neither one of them got the goal that they set out to have, but that's because of their own relationship with each other, and them gaining this new perspective on certain things. They had new goals, and they got those. But yeah, that is it. I think Surf's Up is an incredible film. I think it's very underrated. I think people need to talk about this movie more, because I think it is really good. I think the animation still holds up. I mean, of course, it's not as good as many things that have come out since then. But I don't look at this and I'm like, oh, it looks bad. It looks rough. Like, no, I think it looks good. The story is really nice. I think the mockumentary aspect of it is really unique. Keeps it a little fresh. And the character moments are fun too. I mean, there's certain characters I wish we saw more of. I honestly wish we saw more of Joe. Kind of wish we saw a little more of Lonnie as well. But I think overall, very fun film. Good message. Yeah. But yeah, that is it for this episode. Let me know what you thought of the film. Let me know, how it stacks up against other Sony films. Let me know if you also owned it on PSP UMD, because that was an incredible experience. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure, like I said, to go to the Tiger T YouTube channel or other podcast services for more episodes. Also Twitter, for more to recommend some more stuff. If you don't have YouTube or whatever. And yeah, there's also another podcast I do called Untitled and Unfocused. Podcast I do with my good friend Ray. Yeah, we put out episodes of that sporadically, not quite as consistent as this podcast, but still a lot of fun. So please go check that out. And yeah, until next time, make sure fun and patience are an amazing combination. If you can achieve both of those in your everyday life, it'll be a lot of fun. I feel like I can't say that'll be fun if fun is one of the things you need to have fun, but it works. And then more recommendations. Let me know what other movies or shows or cartoons, anime, all that stuff you want me to watch and kind of delve kind of deep into on here.